What is your American dream?
We won the diversity lottery. Both my parents and then my siblings and I got the chance to come because of that. But I always remember, like my dad saying when we were here, like, look, we did not move to America just so that you guys could play around. We moved for a better education. So get yourselves together. We moved around a lot, right? Because at some point we couldn't afford to be in our apartment. So I remember from apartment, we moved into a motel for a couple of months. But it was 6 of us in a 1-bedroom. Even though we were in a motel, at that point, my siblings and I, we didn't really understand that meant poverty. It was later down the line that you realize, oh, wait a minute, that's an unfortunate situation. I mean, now we've lived in stable housing for over 10 years. I mean, my goal is that we'll eventually be able to buy a home, have my parents' my own home. We're still renting, but we've not had to move for over 10 years. So it's been awesome to be able to see us get our foot on the ground. Of course, when we come, we depend on government subsidies, but to see us gradually fade away from that. So my American dream is that I want to be able to buy my parents their own home for the first time. Seeing that happen.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Groundhog Sam! What a day, what a day. Oh, hi everybody! How are you? I just got back from the DMV. Ugh, that was a long line, but I had to go. I got worried because I'm just a groundhog and I needed to get a New York State ID. So I can be official and buy anything I might need and be able to show that I am me if I have to. So I went to the DMV and check it out. After explaining to them that I can't drive because I'm way too short, they gave me my own New York State ID so I could buy groceries, which, as you all know, is really just pretzels. That's really all I ever eat. Oh, delicious. Thank you. Pretzels. Hopefully it works. Here we go. Hello, kind sir. I would love a pretzel, please, but I know you might need to see my ID first. Here you go. It's official. I hope this means I can get a pretzel. Oh, thank you, thank you. I love pretzels so much. I got a pretzel. I'm so happy. Thank God I got an ID, so I'm official and can buy groceries. Anyway, now is the time that we've all been waiting for. It's time for Brad Show Live, starring Brad Bernstein. Enjoy. Time for me to eat my pretzel now.
Welcome, everybody. It is March 20th, 2024. My name is Brad Bernstein. It is a rainy day here in New York City. I hope if you're in New York, you're dry, and wherever you are, it is sunny where you may be. Let's say hello to the squad. Alcia McPherson saying, squad up, family. How are you? Latoya Peterson, squad up. Sonia, squad up. How are you? And Christy Consali saying, squad up, everybody. Lizard B, squad up. How are you, Lizard? Jewel Delph, squad up. I know Jewel's name. Anna Gay, Big, saying hello. How are you? Hi, Anna Gay. Jessica Leamy, Ma, Joelle Davis, squad up, my love. Squad up to you as well. Lucia, and Quiliano, I believe I got your last name right, saying hello, Brad. How are you, Tan? Saying yeah. How are you, Tan? Jamila, squad up. How are you, Jamila? And Nakisha, Ninny, God Pickney Jacob, saying squad up, family. How are you? And Lizard B with a pre-schmooze question of the day. Lizard B had to say hello and then asks the question. Very polite, Lizard. Happy to answer your question. I have a U visa on file since 2018. When he checks the receipt notices. Only the one for the I-765 shows it's in processing. What do you think could be wrong with that? Well, a U visa application does take a long time to process. There is only 10,000 visas given out for U visas any given year. Sounds like to me that your I-765 is processing because they looked at your application, and now there's changes in immigration law that you can get a work permit while your U visa is pending. Been pending like 5-6 years. I get it, but probably they approved your work permit or are taking a look at your work permit to approve it based on having a bona fide application. That's what I think it means. Excuse me 1 second. Tan also with a pre-schmooze question of the day saying, hey, Mr. Brad, how long does it take for NVC to come with their final decision when your case is returned to the NVC office? All right, Tan, so this is your issue. Somebody went to the embassy, whether it was you or somebody else, they got denied, and the embassy is returning the case to the National Visa Center for visa revocation. They've already given you that final decision. They have said your immigrant visa is a no-go. So they're going to return it to USCIS, and USCIS is going to send you what's called a notice of intent to revoke and give all the reasons why the U.S. Embassy is saying they intend to revoke your approved visa petition, or whoever went to the embassy and got denied. That's going to take years. So if it's an application that's an immediate relative, such as a spouse or somebody filing for their parent or a child under 21, it's actually faster just refile the I-130, but fix the problem. Because if you just file a new I-130 and you go back to the embassy, same thing's going to happen again. So you got to fix the problem. If it was a case where it was like your brother or sister filed for you and it's 15 years of waiting, well, then, yeah, you got to follow up with the NVC and USCIS for that notice of intent to revoke, because it's obviously going to be quicker to hear from them than it's going to be to file again. Problem is USCIS, NVC, they're completely overwhelmed. And your case, the notice of intent to revoke, is way on the bottom of their priorities. So it's going to take a while. If you can refile again, I would. Excuse me. Azam Pin saying, hi, Brad. Can an immigrant living in Mexico with a dismissed delivery of drugs and a guilty to frequenting a place back in 2000, what is that place? A brothel, perhaps? I don't know. What place are you frequenting? A drug place, a brothel place? We need to know what that is. And a case where dismissed delivery of drugs, we would need to know what the underlying facts are. And the reason is this. Even though you don't have a criminal record, there is an immigration law that says if you are potentially a past, present, or future drug trafficker, then you would still not be eligible for your green card. You know, under criminal law, for example, it to be found guilty, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. But for immigration law, it's just preponderance of the evidence. So if there is a preponderance of the evidence that there are facts that you exchanged money for drugs, even though maybe you were found innocent, could be a reason to deny you. So we would need to know a lot more in order to help you. Stargirl Mika, up top, hard worker. Hello, Brad. Leisha Gordon saying hi. Joe K, hello. And Leisha Gordon also with a pre-schmooze question of the day, asking, how long does it take to get your APP after approval? I guess APP, advanced parole. What does APP mean? Maybe I'm having a senior moment. What is APP? Advanced parole? I'm not sure what APP means, so tell me what that means. Stargirl, big up. And Cynthia Wallace, hello. Super Brad. It's not Brad, it's Super Brad. Thank you very much, Cynthia Wallace. Jen Pan, hello. I got my asylum granted 6 months ago, but I'm also about to get married with a U.S. citizen boyfriend. How can I apply for my adjustment of status? I would do the adjustment based on the marriage. You'll get your green card quicker than waiting 6 more months before you then have to file for asylum, and they take a lot longer for the asylum. So just put in the adjustment application. And Hinder Jeet, also a pre-schmooze question of the day. I used my advanced parole based on adjustment of status to travel last year. While returning, they stamped my passport with parole, and it's expiring. My I-45 is still pending. Do I have to extend the parole? No, you don't. You have a pending adjustment of status. You're perfectly fine. And Lizard B asking questions, and her question, I lost it. Here it is. 2020, Lizard B with lots of money. Still don't know what Lizard B is talking about. All right. So, by the way, we are also on Instagram. I can't put the Instagram comments on our feed. We're technologically challenged here. So let me just go through Instagram quickly. Let me say hello to official.7botk is watching us on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein. And Miss Sharoon Stoppable also has joined. Hello to both of you. Denaho, 6 figures. Jose Benez in Miami has joined. Raquel Rowe 18. How are you? Marina Startseva watching. And Daydre Gale 15 has joined. Beach Boontum has joined as well. All on Instagram. And let's see what's on our other Instagram feed, on Bradshaw Live feed. That's not the Bradshaw Live feed. Our other Instagram feed. Here we are. And let's see what's going on there. And we have 85 people watching there. A lot of people watching on Bradshaw Live. Beauty Rica 18 is watching. Jones Marison, Veronica, squad up. Somebody with a big number, 87.29012153, has joined. Chris and Kenny and Kuta Neva has joined. Bleachy Boo, A Daily, Nurasabar, all have joined on Instagram. So people are watching on both Bradshaw Live on Instagram as well as on Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram. We are live on Facebook at Bradshaw Live. We are live on YouTube at Bradshaw Live. And we are live on Twitter at Bradshaw Live. A little later in the broadcast, for those who are new, you will see a telephone number scrolled at the bottom of your screen. That is a number to call Spar and Bernstein, my law firm. It is also a telephone number to call to get on our show right now. We do have some open lines. We will open up those lines in about 15 minutes. I'm going to be taking calls from anybody who wants to call in. And if you do call and get into the queue, it's 1-800-529-5465, international 212-227-8933. You can just watch the number scroll at the bottom of the screen, and I will be taking your live immigration issues, questions, problems, and concerns, all in about 15 to 20 minutes. But right now, for those veteran Bradshaw Live squatties, you know what's going to happen now. We're going to schmooze. Let's do it. All right. That was fast. I was able to get... Okay, ready to go. Registration of the fiscal year 2025 H-1B cap is closing. So we are starting with a last-minute reminder. The fiscal year 2025 H-1B cap is now open. So you can file for your H-1B visas. But it closes on March 22nd, 48 hours from now. That's this Friday. USCIS recently announced new account enhancements and online filing processes that will allow multiple people within a company or organization to collaborate and prepare H-1B registrations, the H-1B petitions, and associated requests for premium processing. All you have to do it in the next 2 days for October 1st start date on your H-1B visa. And if you don't do it in the next 2 days, you got to wait another year before you can get into the lottery. And U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, They're going to open up pop-up Afghan support centers to provide Afghans with access to critical services, including in-person inquiries of USCIS staff and government partner agencies, public wellness and benefits, mental health resources, educational opportunities, employment, women-specific services, social services, and housing resources. Sounds like a great idea. I'm all in favor of it. I love that they're going to help people from Afghanistan. I only wish they would do it for everybody, not just Afghanistan, although I'm glad they are. But come on, let's do it for everybody. Let's open up pop-up USCIS around the country and give everybody in-person inquiries to USCIS staff, to everybody who needs it. Let's give public wellness and benefits to everybody who needs it, mental health resources to people who need it. Upcoming Afghan support centers will be held in Syracuse, New York from March 21st, 2024 to March 23rd, 2024, in Buffalo from March 27th, 2024 to March 30th, and Anaheim from April 16th to April 20th. And I guess I realize why they can't do it for everybody, because they don't have the resources, and there would be millions and millions of people running to pop up USCIS offices. But, you know, quite a shame that they can't do it for everybody and they're just doing it for Afghans. Although I'm happy for the Afghans. Don't get me wrong. Very happy that they're doing it for Afghans. Just wish they would do it for everybody. All right. And U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has put out a public service announcement. Beware of people posing as USCIS officials and offering to serve as your supporter. USCIS officials will not contact you directly through social media platforms. USCIS will only contact you through official government channels. So here are some tips to help you determine whether you are on an official government website or a broken link. Check the URL, use the A to Z index or the sitemap to see if the sitemaps work. Type what you are looking for in the search our site box near the top of this page, or ask Emma, the USCIS virtual assistant, when she appears. If you can't do any of that, you're probably on a fake account. Also, public service announcement. Either there are 300 people who look just like Brad Bernstein, talk like Brad Bernstein, and act like Brad Bernstein, or there's a lot of also scammers out there pretending to be me. So you got to be very careful when you're calling my office as well. Make sure you are calling the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway. And make sure that you only contact us through our official social media sites and our official website. Anywhere else that you would be contacting us, I can't confirm that you would be talking to me. You could be talking to one of the 300 fake Brad Bernsteins out there. PSA from Brad Show Live. And a settlement was reached last week in Cancino Castellar versus Mayorkas, a case that will ensure prompt first appearances in immigration court for detained persons. And the federal court case challenged systemic delays in case processing that resulted in long detention times. People were held in detention and not seeing judges for months and months and months and months. So now, based on this settlement, immigration agencies will provide class members with written notice in multiple languages, informing them of their right to a prompt first appearance. Those who wish to see a judge promptly will have a first appearance within 11 days of entering ICE custody. Class members already residing in the United States who are arrested by Border Patrol will be processed out of Border Patrol within 3 days, or if they remain in ICE custody, will see a judge within 11 days. And all of this means that more and more of the limited resources that Immigration Customs Enforcement has will be given to detained people, and people who are waiting to see a judge who are not detained will wait longer and longer, but at least you're not in detention. So thank God for that. And Donald Trump, he threw out some bombs. I don't know if anybody saw this at a political event in Ohio on Sunday. At this rally, Donald Trump said that if he was elected, he would end the border invasion permitted by President Biden, one that has led to a migrant crime spree, resulting from the fact that other countries have sent us, I'm quoting, sent us all of their criminals. And in the course of his speech, Trump said in reference to migrants, I don't know if you'd call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion. And he also referred to migrants as animals. Let's watch.
I don't know if you call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion. These are bad. These are animals, okay? And we have to stop it.
And, Trump, by the way, not the first time he's ever called migrants animals before. 5 years ago, he also called migrants animals. And then he clarified and said, oh, no. They're not really, I wasn't talking about all migrants. I was just talking about the M13 gang members. Now, back to Sunday in Ohio, another key moment of his speech was when Trump said, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. Now, remember the last time he started that type of language, we ended up with January 6th. So I don't think the word is interesting to see what's going to happen. Actually, a little scary to see what's going to happen. And with Super Tuesday in the books, it is just about a foregone conclusion that we are going to have a presidential rematch between current President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. Funny thing is, even though these are the two people who are going to be going up against each other, if you probably poll most of Americans, they all wish we had two other people. But regardless, this is what we got. And polls suggest a tight cliffhanger. And the number one issue, according to most polls, that's going to sway the election one way or the other is immigration. So what impacts on immigration will we likely see if Donald Trump returns to office? This is what we believe at the moment at Brad Show Live. The first Trump administration, to remind everybody, saw the adoption of a number of creative, tough immigration policies, including, but not limited to, the zero tolerance policy for undocumented immigrants, the return to Mexico policy forcing immigrants to wait in Mexico in what many considered was deplorable conditions while their asylum claims and other claims for entry into the United States were being decided. Trump put in Title 42. That was an order which closed the U.S.-Mexico border in the name of public health during the pandemic. Trump also banned Muslims from certain countries, didn't do a total Muslim ban from every country, but there was a Muslim ban from multiple countries. Mass detention of immigrants and the end of catch and release, that was a hallmark of Donald Trump's presidency, and he used that as a tool for immigration enforcement, and also used the tool of scaring people. If any people remember the Brad Show Live from when we were on during the Donald Trump times, there was always these scare tactics that ICE is running through this neighborhood, ICE is running through that neighborhood, just looking to scare people, even though ICE may or may not have been there, but was putting out all these public announcements from his administration that ICE was going to be here, ICE was going to be there, just to scare people. And of course, the separation of migrant families at the U.S.-Mexico border. Now, if given a second term, Donald Trump has promised to start where he left off. Now, so expect all of those policies listed above to come back in the second Donald Trump term and to be supplemented with even likely tougher immigration policies. So the fear in the immigrant communities generated by his immigration statements and policies, as they did in his first term, may chill immigrants from assessing public benefits. And we're talking about legal immigrants, not just undocumented immigrants, including healthcare, which, as the COVID pandemic taught us, helps ensure everybody's health. And distrust of government may lead many immigrants to not report crimes and otherwise not cooperate with the police. And by restricting migration, Trump's immigration policies could well contribute to a tighter labor market in agriculture, construction, service industries. There may be a shortage of workers. Changes in the job market in post-COVID and relatively low fertility rates among U.S. citizens has already resulted in a tight labor market. And we have only seen this tight labor market kind of come back to a more manageable labor market. And we've talked about this in previous shows. Once the immigration people with getting legal work permits were allowed to come into the United States. So a tight labor market is going to lead to, yes, increased wages for workers, But whatever increase in wage, so everyone's like, oh yeah, that's great. I need a raise. But that raise is going to be accompanied by, in my belief, inflation. So whatever raise you're going to get is going to be taxed by the silent tax of inflation. And most likely workers will have less in their pocket to spend when all is said and done. In Bradshaw Live's opinion. Bradshaw Live's opinion is my opinion because I'm Brad and this is my show and I'm live. So there we got it. And in a second Biden administration, we got to go back and look at what he's done so far. In the early days of 2024 campaign, President Biden responded with a call to Congress to pass comprehensive immigration reform. He also suggested that additional measures to control the flow of migrants in the U.S.-Mexico border should occur. So Biden, a little more reasonable. He wants to do some immigration reform, make people legal who aren't necessarily legal, but also acknowledging we got big problems at the border and we definitely need to tighten it up. And however, Biden has walked back many of the harshest Donald Trump immigration policies in his first term. He ended the Muslim ban. He ended Title 42, which closed the border. He ended the return to Mexico policy, which said that anybody applying for asylum is going to be returned to Mexico and wait for their asylum hearing in Mexico. And in addition, Joe Biden, he never talked of immigrants as deserving of harsh treatment or as criminal or as a rapist, as former President Donald Trump has. And President Biden, he's more likely to continue to pursue a more moderate immigration approach, in no small part because he doesn't want the progressive wing to go against him. There is a progressive liberal wing in the Democratic Party that is very pro-immigration. And if Biden gets too tough on immigrants, he's going to lose that vote. So he can't lose the progressive vote, not only in the election, but also in Congress, because there's a lot of progressive Democrats in Congress as well. So even if embracing somewhat tougher positions than he has in his first time, it seems, based on Bradshaw Live's opinion, which is Brad, because it's my show and I'm live, it seems highly unlikely that Joe Biden is going to ever go to the extremes that Donald Trump would. So immigration is less likely, immigrants would be less likely to fear the government under President Biden than under Donald Trump. And in addition, Biden probably is not going to restrict the labor migration as much as Donald Trump. So therefore, wages and inflation should remain lower because of President Biden's policies. Now, President Biden and former Donald Trump offer two different approaches to immigration that would impact the country and immigrants, obviously, in many different ways. Immigration is the number one issue that most people say is the most important issue facing the United States of America right now. And it's really going to come down to people saying, do we want to kick immigrants out or do we want a more compassionate approach? And we'll see what happens. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has weighed in on Prince Harry. Once again, Donald Trump, he has suggested that Prince Harry might face deportation from the United States if he is found to have provided false information about his drug use on his visa application. We talked about this on our last show as well. In the interview with GB News' Nigel Farage that aired yesterday, if I got Nigel's name right, Trump was asked about the possibility of Prince Harry receiving special privileges in light of his admission of drug use in his memoir, which has raised questions about his immigration status. Trump responded by indicating that appropriate action would need to be taken if Prince Harry lied about his drug use on his visa application, but he did not explicitly confirm whether deportation would be the consequence. Let's watch. Hopefully we'll watch. Maybe we won't watch. But I'll tell you what he said. He said, no, we'll have to see. This is Donald Trump. I wish I can do Donald Trump imitation. I can't. So I'm just going to do it as Brad Bernstein. And this is what he said. No, we'll have to see if they know something about the drugs. And if he lied, they'll have to take appropriate action. And when pressed on whether appropriate action might mean deportation, Trump said, "Oh, I don't know. You'll have to tell me. You just have to tell me. You would have thought you would have known this a long time ago." So Trump's comments echo his previous remarks regarding Prince Harry's immigration status when he criticized the Biden administration for what he perceived as being too lenient towards the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Now, Trump emphasized his stance that Prince Harry's betrayal of Queen Elizabeth was unforgivable and stated that if he were in power, Prince Harry would not receive any special protection. It's good politics to bring in Prince Harry. He's probably not the most liked prince around these days, and people probably don't like his wife as much anymore as they used to, is my guess. So I probably good politics for Donald Trump to throw Prince Harry under the bus and scare the hell out of him to get a few votes, to get people to say, yeah, getting tough on immigration, even on Prince Harry. I would say poor Prince Harry, but he's really rich Prince Harry. And Texas Governor Greg Abbott released a report last Tuesday, March 12th, celebrating the state's efforts in border security, citing the arrest of nearly 500,000 migrants. Abbott, a Republican, attributes the surge in migrant crossings to President Biden's immigration policies. Despite legal battles with the Biden administration, Abbott has pursued initiatives like Operation Lone Star, which includes controversial measures such as transporting migrants to sanctuary cities and deploying razor wire and barriers along the border. However, data also suggests that most fentanyl is seized at legal ports of entry. Abbott's popularity in Texas has increased amid his border crackdown. And yesterday, the Supreme Court gave Texas officials permission to jail and prosecute migrants suspected of crossing the U.S. southern border without authorization. But only hours later, a late-night order by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals panel blocked the state from enforcing its controversial immigration law known as Senate Bill 4, or SB 4. And the order reinstated a ruling from a U.S. District Court Judge David Ezra, who concluded in late February that SB 4 conflicted with federal immigration laws and the Constitution. Now, passed by Texas legislature, as we talked about previously, SB 4 criminalizes unauthorized migration at the state level, making the act of entering the United States outside of a port of entry, which is already a federal offense, also now a state crime. The Justice Department, representing the Biden administration, has said that SB 4 conflicts with federal law and the U.S. Constitution. However, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who has positioned himself as the leading state critic of President Biden's border policies, has portrayed SB 4 as a necessary measure to discourage migrants from crossing over. And finally, it is this past Sunday is March 17th, and it was St. Paddy's Day, celebrated by millions of people around the world, not only Irish. Everybody grabbed a beer and all marched as Irish Americans, whether you were Irish or not, because it was St. Paddy's Day. And of course, all of March is Irish American History Month. And according to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Irish immigrants began to come to the American colonies in the 1700s, and the grandson of an Irish immigrant, Charles Carroll, signed the Declaration of Independence. And later, between 1820 and 1930, an estimated 4.5 million Irish immigrants arrived, forever changing U.S. society and culture. And today, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 31.5 million Americans living in the United States claim Irish descent. So happy Irish American History Month. That is our schmooze for the day. But before we get into our immigration calls, before we get into our meat and potatoes dinner time, which is when I answer all your immigration questions, I have a bit of an appetizer, shall we say, to serve you first. And this was kind of cool. Kenyans.co.eu did a story on a caller I advised on an episode of the show in July of 2023. It was a Kenyan woman called in to speak to me about her sister who was deported from the United States after authorities discovered she was working here on a visitor's visa. And during my call with the woman's sister, she revealed she had been in the U.S. for 4 months on a tourist visa, leaving her children in Kenya. And upon her return from visiting her sons, the immigration officers at the airport, CBP, found a video of her working while she had been in America, leading to her deportation. And what they told her was a 5-year ban from reentry. But I explained to her on the show that the 5-year ban is actually forever, not 5 years, because the deportation is a 5-year ban. But the misrepresentation of working on a tourist visa results in a lifetime ban, something immigration officers don't usually tell people at the time of their deportation. And the reason they don't do that is they don't want to make tense situation worse. Much easier to say, you can come back in 5 years than you can't come back forever. Because people are more willing to say, okay, I'll leave and I'll come back in 5 years. So I told her sister she only has 2 options for a waiver to the United States. Let's watch.
I'm calling on behalf of my sister. She was here. She came on a visiting visa. She stayed for 4 months, and then she was having some problems because she left her son back home, because she came with one of her sons and left 2 back home.
How did she come to the United States?
One visiting visa.
On a visitor's visa.
Yes, sir.
All right, so you're calling on behalf of your sister who came on a visitor's visa, who left the son behind, and I guess your sister is out of status now, correct?
She went back home. When she came back at the airport, she was deported back to Kenya.
Okay.
She was deported because they checked in her, the immigration checked in her phone, and they found a video that showed that she was working when she was here.
All right. So she's not going to be able to come back unless she gets a waiver, because she has a misrepresentation issue. Okay.
Yes,
she could
sir.
only get a waiver for a green card through a spouse or a parent. So if she doesn't have parents here, she has to have a spouse, or she's never getting to America, ever.
She doesn't have a spouse here.
Then she would not be able to get to America. As for the son, how old is the son?
The son is back in Africa with her, so she doesn't have the family here.
So nobody's here now.
It's just her sister.
Unfortunately, she screwed up. She traveled with videos showing she's working in the U.S. on a tourist visa. Don't do that. There's nothing you can do now. She's barred for life. When you get caught at the airport on a visitor's visa and deported because they found out you were working on a visitor's visa, you are never coming back again, ever. Unless.
But they still have 5 years. They gave her 5 years.
And I am telling you, forever. They told her 5 years for the deportation. What they didn't tell her is that the misrepresentation of working on a tourist visa is lifetime. And the reason they don't do that is they don't want the person to have a breakdown in the airport. They want to deport them as easy as possible and screw them when they find out in 5 years they're never coming back. Because can't come back for 2 reasons. 1, 5 years for deportation, lifetime for misrepresentation. And the only way to overcome the misrepresentation at this point is to be married to a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident and get a waiver through that marriage, or have parents who are U.S. citizens or residents. Other than that, never coming back ever. I'm sorry to report that. I'm a messenger, but it's what it is.
Thank you so much.
All right. So another public service announcement, a reminder that if you are caught, working in the United States on a visitor's visa and you're looking at a lifetime ban, not a 5-year ban, unless you can get a waiver through a U.S. citizen spouse or a U.S. citizen parent. And immigration does have the right to search your phone at ports of entry. I've done lots of videos on that as well, including airports, and any photographs or video you have on your cell phone that compromises you, that shows you're working, could be used against you. I've even seen a situation where somebody got caught with an attorney's business card in their wallet. And immigration officer, why are you going to speak to an attorney? What is it that you want to do here? Because you can't come here on a visitor's visa with the intent of wanting to get a green card. So they can look through your stuff. So be sure to get good legal advice before you do something that can cause you to end up with something like a forever ban into the United States of America, like this caller's sister. And we assist individuals with their immigration cases, whether they reside within all 50 states or abroad. So you can feel free to reach out to us, schedule a consultation, and you call that telephone number, all listed on the bottom, 1-800-529-5465. It's the same number to get on our show, but it's a number to call our office to schedule a consultation with me. 1-800-529-5465, international 212-227-3636. And you could also send us a private message through our social media pages or through our website at www.lawsb.com, and you can reach out to us. But here, we are ready now. You got your appetizer. We are ready now for the meat and potatoes of our show. This is what everybody comes in to tune for. Me answering your immigration issues, questions, problems, and concerns. Let's do it. All right, Tina, you're on live with Brad. How are you?
Hi, Brad. How are you?
Great. What's going on?
Good. So I have a quick question. So I've been operating a Christian nonprofit organization for about 2 years now. But 6 months ago, we got all our ducks in a row, got our papers, LLC, registered by the state and all of that. So we do have volunteers. So we don't have paid workers at the moment. And we've been invited overseas to do some work. But I've found out, in the process of us getting stuff together and, getting our sponsors on board to buy our tickets and take care of our accommodation, that a few of my volunteers, they're out of status. So they can't leave
Right.
Pennsylvania. They can't leave the United States.
Right.
So I just wanted to know if there's anything that we could do for them. Like, can we do anything for them?
You said you're a Christian nonprofit organization. Tell me a little bit more
Yeah.
about what this organization is.
So, we partner with churches, a lot of churches. Well, we have a few churches that we've partnered with. We, through the churches, we're able to help anyone that needs home, assistance with housing and
Okay, so
domestic violence and all of that.
you're doing secular work on behalf of the church. You're not doing religious outreach,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what you would be able to do to help them. Obviously, there's job sponsorships and what qualifications they have to work, in your organization, how much your organization can afford to pay them salaries because they're all working at this moment, which is really nice, by the way, to be undocumented in a country that is not, obviously the country of your birth. You don't have legal status,
Mhm.
and to still go and volunteer to help other people. It's really lovely people. Those are people that the United States
Yeah.
should want to help, which is why obviously you're calling. But they would have to be sponsored in a paid position in your organization. And then the questions become, can your organization afford to pay them a salary? What qualifications do
Yeah.
they have to work in your organization? Are they taking a job away from an American worker? If you were to offer this same position to an American worker, is this something an American worker is qualified to do? Are there qualified workers out there to do this? And lastly, in a job sponsorship, which is really the number one question you got to ask, is when all is said and done, they're out of status. They can't adjust their status in the United States through a job sponsorship unless they're 245I eligible, which means that somebody filed for them before 2001, or somebody filed for their parents before 2001, and they were derivative on that application. And that's something that a lawyer has to figure out. And if they're not eligible to adjust their status, then they only have one other way to be able to get a green card, which would be to do a provisional waiver, go home and come back. And in order to get the provisional waiver to go home and come back safely with your green card, you would need either a legal parent or a legal spouse. So, there's a lot of questions I wouldn't be able to answer for each specific person at this point. Is it possible? Yes. But I think somebody somewhere somehow is going to need to have a consultation with me.
Okay.
All
All
right.
right. No problem. All righty. But thank you so much.
I don't know if I went fast through a lot of stuff, so I don't know if I was helpful or not, but the answer is maybe.
Yeah, you were. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you for calling.
All right. Bye-bye.
Chad, we're going to go to Chad in Salinas, California. Chad.
Hey, hello, Brad. How you doing today?
How are you?
Good. First, I would like to thank you, for helping us here, and I love your show.
Thank you. What's going on?
I have a question. I'm getting ready to apply for my citizenship, my N400. I pretty much filled it all out myself. I was able to go through all questions. There is a question on there, however, about selective services. I was out of status around that age group, 18 to 24, 26. How
old were you? How old were you when you got your green card?
I was 5 years ago, 31.
Okay, so you didn't have to do selective service because you only have to apply for selective service between 18 and 26. And obviously, as an undocumented immigrant in the United States, I assume you were, or you were not in the U.S. at all. Either way, you're not required to do it. So the question is, did you apply for selective service? No, but you didn't have to, so it's no big deal.
Okay, and it's asking for an explanation, so just put that on there.
Explanation is, were you undocumented in the U.S. at the time, or you were living in another country?
I was here. I was right here, and when I was a kid, I was 6.
So the answer is, I was undocumented at the time and didn't qualify for selective service.
Okay.
All right.
And that shouldn't affect anything. Right?
No, because they know you were undocumented. They gave you a green card despite the fact of you being undocumented here, and you don't have to apply for selective service after the age of 26.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Katrina in Los Angeles.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Right. Yeah. I'm good. How are you?
What's going on?
So I'm on a tourist visa, but I am engaged to a citizen. But we are waiting for his divorce to be finalized, latest in May. I have a ticket returning to my home country end of May, but based on one of your previous videos, it seems it's better for me to leave once my paperwork here is finalized. My I-94 says I can stay only till July 30, but I'm afraid my paperwork won't be ready by then.
Well, what do you mean by? Well, I have a question for you. You're like, what should I do? I get it, but I got a question for you. What do you mean by you're where are you from?
I'm from the Philippines.
Okay, so you're from the Philippines. You're engaged to marry this man who's not yet couldn't marry you today because he's still married to someone else. When do you believe is his divorce that he's going through? Is this a contested divorce where they're fighting over money and this is going to take years, or is this just an uncontested divorce for a judge to sign the papers?
It's the child custody that's being contested, but the final set of hearings is in May.
Right. Okay. So if the final hearing is in May, is this in California?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how long a judge takes to sign a divorce in California after a final hearing, but you got to assume it's a few months. So you have two choices. Okay. You can go home in May and well, you have multiple choices. You can go home in May, and then either one of three things you'll do. One, once your fiance is divorced, he can file a fiance visa for you, but you're going to wait 18 months to come back on a fiance visa. Yeah. 2, he can go to the Philippines and marry you, but you'll wait 2 to 2.5 years to come back with a green card. 3, you already spent how many months in the U.S. right now?
Basically, I arrived end of January, so March, like a month and a half.
All right, and you're going to leave in May, so that means you're going to be here at least 4.5 months before you leave.
4 months, yeah.
Right, if you do that, you got to stay out of the country at least 9 or 10 months before you come back on a visitor's visa. So even if he's not going to go marry you, he's not going to do a fiance visa for you, you're not coming back till 2025. So all of those, if you know, you want to be in the U.S. with your fiance, all stink. They're terrible, resolutions. So you can do one of two things, you know, and you have to have a sit down with your fiance. All right. Number one sit down is, you know, and speak to his lawyer as well. Okay. And so number one is you got to speak to his lawyer and say, hey, assuming this is the final hearing on this custody, when do you reasonably believe this judge is going to sign a divorce? And maybe the lawyer will say, yeah, you should be divorced by August or September or October, sometime in the fall, presumably. Okay, it would be my guess. Okay, now your B2 visa is only good till July. Okay, so you have
end of July, yeah.
end of July. You can extend your B2 status for 6 more months and stay here till December. That's one option.
Okay.
But you got to speak to your fiance before you decide what you're going to do. You got to know two things. One, do you think he's going to be divorced? And so that's the lawyer. And two, you got to speak to him and have a sit down with him and say, hey, when you're divorced, are we getting married? Or are you going to drag this on another year?
Oh, no. He's been wanting to get married. He's actually already sent his ex like a taking status, like trying to separate the dissolution of marriage from the custody back in February.
If you know you're going to get married, then I would stay. But once you stay, you're committed to getting married, assuming he's a U.S. citizen. Because if you stay for 6 months or extend your stay for an additional 6, you're not coming back for a long time. Or even if you say, you know what, I'm not even going to bother, between me and you and the two people listening, you can say, shh, I'm not going to extend my stay. I'll just overstay. But as long as you know you're going to get married in 2 or 3 months, nobody's going to bother you. You get married, and when you're married to a U.S. citizen, all's forgiven. Your overstay is forgiven. You'll still adjust your status. You'll get your work permit. It's all forgiven.
Okay.
But the key thing is, two things. One, make sure the man's going to marry you, and two, make sure he's getting divorced relatively soon.
Yes, both of those are absolutely 100%, 1,000%.
So then your only decision is, are you going to overstay or just extend your stay for 6 months? Probably, if you extend your stay, then you're going to probably delay your marriage because you can't extend your stay and get married at the same time. But if for example, he'll be divorced by 1st of August and your I-94 is up July 31st and you're going to get married by August 15th, big deal. You overstayed 15 days. You'll get your green card.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
All right. I hope I
have a great day.
Fix that all for you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Let's go to Jackson in Houston, Texas. Jackson.
Hey, can you hear me?
I do.
Okay. Thanks for answering the phone call.
My pleasure.
So the reason I called is I'm trying to see if I'm already a citizen or if I have to nationalize because I was adopted and I received my green card when I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
And they said there's something
you're not a citizen. I could already tell you.
Why that?
Because you got your green card after your 18th birthday. So because you got your green card after, you can only derive citizenship through your parents, which is, I assume, what you're asking me, if you got your green card before your 18th birthday. So as soon as you told me you became a lawful resident after your 18th birthday, I don't need to go any further. You don't derive U.S. citizenship. So you would have to file a naturalization.
Even though it was pending?
Even though it was pending.
Damn. Well, there's a problem because I have some charges recently, and I was about to file citizenship.
What are your charges?
It's a 3rd-degree felon and misdemeanor.
You've been found guilty or you've been charged?
I charged. I got a lawyer now. He said he's going to get. I don't know if I should be saying this on the phone, but
probably not.
Can I go?
Probably not. You shouldn't be saying anything. Probably. What I would suggest you do is have a one-on-one consultation with me, and then, if necessary, I can consult with your criminal defense attorney on what's a good plea, what's not a good plea, so you can at least, become a citizen and, more importantly, not get yourself deported.
I next year I was supposed to be eligible to file. So I have to wait 5 years regardless if I get a dismissed case.
Correct. Correct.
And so can I renew?
I wouldn't do anything till you have a consultation with me. That's what I would do. Because whenever you renew your green card, whenever you file for your citizenship, whenever you travel, somebody in the U.S. government is looking at your background and determining whether you're admissible, whether you should be deported. So you shouldn't do anything until you speak to me. All right, hold on one second.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Kevin in Hartford. Kevin.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, how are you?
Hello. Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you for asking. Just a very quick question here. I became a resident since 12/08/21, and I was wondering when can I file for my citizenship?
How did you get your green card?
Based marriage.
To a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what month? You said in 2021. I didn't hear the month.
Yeah, 12/08/21.
December 2021.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was when I went for the interview, I got the 10-year, straight ahead. I didn't get
Are you living with your spouse now?
Yes, we're still married.
And okay, and you filing joint tax returns. You're living in the home with her on a regular basis in a traditional marriage, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So then you would be eligible to file 90 days before December 8th, 2024. So that would be September, October, November. So that would be sometime, probably the second week in October. Call it October 15th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Call it September 15th. September to October. September, October, November. Yeah. Call it September 15th.
Okay. And then the other question is, on the W-2, I find out there's been a problem with my social security card through the company that I'm working with. So they screwed up my my SS number.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're working on that to resolve the problem. So from last year, because it was my first time filing with her, so they're still working on, getting that situated. So while I'm still waiting on that, it's going to be hard for me to provide them with the mistaken one, right? So I'm going to have to, how should I say this? Like to straighten up everything from this year. How is that going to affect my case?
I don't think it affects your case at all. You have a W-2 that was issued to you incorrectly. You file your tax return with that, and you jointly with your spouse and explain to the IRS that this W-2 was issued incorrectly with the wrong social security number, but this is me with my social security number, and let your employer has to fix it. I don't know what the problem is. All right?
Right. Okay. And then my last question is, when I visited South Africa 2022, so upon my arrival at JFK, I encounter with the agent, and so he asked me a bunch of questions, which to me were just stupid, like, when have you been in this country? How did you get a green card? Is this your first time traveling outside the U.S. After you got your green card? I said the answer was yes. Any bad criminal background? No.
Okay.
And, so
what is your concern about that?
With me, and
what is your concern about that?
I felt like he threatened me because he told me next time I should travel again, come back through JFK and see what happens. So next
time what? Connect through JFK and see what happens?
Yeah.
It just sounds like he was being a jerk to you. I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. All right. No.
Let's go to Kay in Lexington, Kentucky. Kay.
Hi, Brad. How you doing?
Good.
Yes. Hey, Brad. I got a quick question.
Yes.
So, I sue the USCIS for my marriage-based green card, and then I went to the interview. So now, after the interview, what will be the next thing? They did a stock interview.
Mm-hmm.
25 minutes for myself, and then my wife 25 minutes, so approximately like 50 minutes in total. So the officer told us that, hey, he's going to send RFE if needs something else. So how long do you think this will take?
120 days from the time of the decision, from the time of the interview.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. All right. And then my next question is, I saw this program that if you live in the United States for 10 years, you are eligible to adjust your status. How true is that?
It's not true. If you're living in the United States for 10 years and you're undocumented and you get put in deportation, and you can apply for something called cancellation of removal for non-LPR, which means I'm undocumented. I've been here for more than 10 years, and it would be an extreme and unusual hardship to my lawful resident parents or citizen parents, spouse, or children under 21 if I were to be deported. And you got to convince a judge about the extreme and unusual hardship to your family about you getting deported. And then if the judge buys it, you save yourself from getting deported and you get put on a list to adjust your status, which is several years. That is the last resort that you have in your pocket to avoid getting deported. It's not something you would just say, I'm going to put myself in deportation and do that. That would be silly.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And I appreciate your help, and then I appreciate what you're doing for the community as well. God bless you.
Okay. Let's go to John in Texas. John.
Yeah. Good afternoon, Brad. How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good. After we submitted our RFE, our I-485 and I-30 updated to actively being reviewed. So I want to know, how long will it take for them to take a decision on that?
How would I know? I didn't handle your case. I didn't file it. I don't know what the issues are. If something is being actively reviewed, that means hopefully somebody's looking at it. But I don't know the answer to how long it's going to be. I don't have the slightest idea.
Okay. Because I think the issue is when we first of all filed our paperwork, my wife sponsoring me, they sent us a paper that her tax return was not good. So we didn't understand that, and we resent it.
So let me. When did you respond with that tax return?
We responded in 2020. We filed in April 2020, and in June they sent us an RFE.
And when did you respond with it?
And we responded in August of 2020. 2022.
Right, so your case has been pending since August of 2020. Your wife is a U.S. citizen.
No. So when we responded in August of 2022 with the same tax return, So in 2023 of July, they sent us a denial based on my wife's tax return. So we refiled again in September of 2023. And as soon as we filed, they got our new filing. They requested for, they sent us a RFE, which we responded to them in December of 2023.
All right. So guess what? All right. I have some answers for you. Okay. Number one, why do you keep filing things and doing it incorrectly? Why don't you get somebody to do it for you correctly? Because if it was done for you correctly in the first place, you'd probably be a citizen at this point. So I'm flabbergasted to listen. I filed by my wife in 2020. We screwed it up and they denied it. And then I refiled again and you screwed it up a second time because they sent you an RFE. So you submitted the RFE in December of 2023, which means that until you get the RFE means you didn't complete the application properly. So until you have it,
requested for,
listen to John,
I-130.
John, I heard you. I'm giving you my answer now. When you get an RFE on an adjustment before you even got your interview, that means, especially for tax returns, that means you didn't do everything properly. So you get an RFE. You're missing evidence for us to adjudicate this case. Until you submit a completed application with all the evidence that immigration needs to adjudicate that case, as far as immigration is concerned, it's not filed. So from 2020 all the way to December 2023, you've just wasted your time. Finally, hopefully, in December of 2023, I hope, I don't know because I didn't do the case, but I hope you did everything properly. Now you got to wait a year. So you're not going to hear till 2025. That's my answer. Hold on.
Okay.
All right.
So thank.
All right. So let's go to the next person. Tracy in Jersey City, New Jersey. Tracy.
Hi, Brad. How are you? Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure.
So my question here is, can my U.S. citizen spouse petition for me if he's currently on child support?
What do you mean by on child support? If he's paying child support and he's up to date, absolutely. If he owes child support and there's an outstanding, order that he, hasn't paid the child support, then he's got a problem. Then you got a problem. So
Okay.
is it a situation where he's paying child support through a court order and he's up to date, then that's fine. But if he's
right,
not,
and his son is going to be 18, so he is up to date on his payments.
Then that's fine. Absolutely.
Okay.
The only time you can't is, in other words, let's say, your husband has a child somewhere in this world and he never paid child support and there's this outstanding child support order and he just ignores it and it piles up and now he owes like $20,000, $30,000 in child support. Then the government's going to say, listen, you don't even support your kid. How do we know you're going to support this? Right. But in this particular case, you don't have anything to worry about. He supports his kid, so there's no issue.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much.
Look, you're all good to go. Thumbs up. All right. Let's go to Rodolfo in Philadelphia. Rodolfo.
Hey, how you doing? My question is, I had paid an immigration lawyer to get my proof of citizenship. I've been here since I was like 7. And I got denied, but they said I had to give them an extra $1,500 and let my father claim me. So I was trying to figure out, what do I do?
I'm not sure what's going on. Do you have a green card?
I had one when I was a little kid. Yeah,
How old are you now?
I'm 43.
Okay. So when you say you had a green card when you were a little kid, all right.
Yeah, my father came.
All right. First of all, as a 43-year-old man, you fall under old citizenship laws because the Child Citizenship Act of 2001 made it easier for you to become a citizen. But in 2001, if I'm doing my math right, you were already over 18. So yes, being over 18 when the Child Citizenship Act was passed, you fall under old citizenship laws. And my question to you is this. Who was the citizen? Your dad, your mom, or both?
Oh, my dad.
Where's your mom?
Panama.
And was your dad married to your mom ever?
No.
Never?
No, never.
Okay. I'm not sure what lawyer you're going to, but you're not a U.S. citizen. I assume your mom's alive, correct?
Yes, my father's alive, yeah.
Yeah. What about your mom?
Yeah, my mom alive, my father alive, because
you're not a U.S. citizen, so I don't know what this lawyer's doing.
No, I'm saying when my father came and got us, he was a citizen.
You're not. Was your dad a citizen when you were born?
No, I don't know, because when he came and got us from Panama, he was a citizen.
The only way you're a citizen is if dad was a citizen when you were born. Then it's possible you're a citizen. Otherwise, you're not. And the reason you're not is this. For you to claim citizenship, there's two ways for you to claim citizenship. You can claim citizenship that you derive citizenship after your birth because your dad was a citizen, which is what you started the call about. And for you to do that under the old citizenship laws, you have to prove one of 4 things. One, both mom and dad were citizens before you were 18. Mom was never in the U.S., so that's not the case. 2, mom was a citizen. Nobody knows who dad is. That's not the case. It's the opposite. 3, dad is a citizen and had legal custody of you because of a termination in a marriage between dad and mom. And you told me dad was never married to mom. So you don't qualify under that category. And the last way you're a citizen is dad's a citizen, mom died before I was 18, and you said mom's alive. So under all 4 of those scenarios, you're not a U.S. citizen. Now, for you to be a citizen because your dad was a citizen when you were born, those are different rules. And that rule is dad was a citizen for 5 years prior to your birth, and he lived in the U.S. for at least 2 of those years over the age of 14. So the only way you're a U.S. citizen is if dad was a citizen when you were born. So you got to go, dad, when did you become a citizen? Other than that, this lawyer doesn't know what the hell he's doing that's doing your case. Quite frankly, I know the answers live without ever looking at a document. And this lawyer is charging you money for God knows what. But you're not a citizen based on living with your dad. It's not the case.
Yeah, because I had to wait 3 years just to get the denial letter.
The lawyer's pulling your leg, man.
Yeah, they're talking about turn around, your dad got to file for you.
Your dad either has to file for you, or you have to find out if dad was a citizen before you were born.
All right, yeah.
But why is dad filing for you if you already had a green card when you were a kid? So that still makes no sense. You need a confirmation.
It's so crazy because he came over there to get us, but it wasn't custody. I mean, it wasn't custody.
I just asked you if you had a green card, and you said yes. So why is dad filing for you? That makes no sense.
Yeah, because I had a green card when I was first came here. I was 6 when I got that green card.
Dad does not need to file for you if you have a green card. You need a consultation because Rodolfo, I'm being honest with you.
No. It's a permanent resident card. I don't know what a permanent resident card is. That's the green card, right?
Correct. You need a consultation because you don't even know what's going on in your life. Hold on. I'm being honest. Hold on. Let's go to Veronica in Palo Alto, California. Hi, Veronica. Veronica.
Hi, Mr. Brad. Good afternoon, sir.
Good. How are you?
Yes, sir. Just a quick question. This is for my friend. Hello, sir. Yes.
I'm listening.
Mr. Brad. Good afternoon, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, sir. Thank you so much for asking.
Veronica,
Veronica,
you got to listen. You're not listen to me on the show, not through the.
Thank you so much. 2013, sir, when my friend entered in America for a tourist visa, and then on the same year she get a P1 visa. Then 2015 it was canceled, and since then she's undocumented. So she went to the different law firm, and the only advice is for her to get married a U.S. citizen, but that's not her option because she believes on her skills. Is there any other way for her to get a green card?
What's her skill?
She's been an taekwondo athlete since college, and she's been in the national team, and she competed different international competition.
Okay, so she wants to do some sort of extraordinary ability green card or something like that.
Correct, sir.
All right. So question. Where's mom and dad?
In the Philippines.
Okay. Has mom or dad ever tried to get a green card?
No, sir.
Okay. And she's single, this person?
She's married when she get here, and then because of the business things, that they get divorced. The husband is already married, but she's still single.
Okay. So let me give you some advice. Okay. Once you overstay on your visa, you're very limited on the possibilities of getting a green card. Yes, you can get married to a U.S. citizen. Does she have any U.S. citizen children here in the United States?
No kids, sir. She's single.
Fine. So she has no children who can sponsor her. She has no spouse who can sponsor her. She has no parents who can sponsor her. So there's no family sponsorship. So forget that. You can get sponsored as extraordinary ability. You can self-petition yourself based on extraordinary ability. but that person has lived illegally in the United States for more than a year. And then therefore, that person to get a green card would have to go back to the Philippines and be stuck for 10 years before they can come back. Why would you do that? You would never do that. So you can't do that.
Oh, yeah, that's a long process.
That person can invest $1 million in a business, hire 10 U.S. workers. They would still have to go home for 10 years and get stuck. Why would you do that? You could apply for asylum, but generally there's no asylum from the Philippines, number one. And number two, it's too late to apply for asylum anyway, because you got to do it in your first year of entry. You can be the victim of a crime. If you're the victim of a crime, perhaps apply for a U visa or a T visa. Maybe that, I don't know, God forbid, person's a victim of a crime. You can do the visa lottery, but Philippines is not in the visa lottery. And even if they were, that she would have to go home and be stuck for 10 years. So I've just gone through every possible known scenario to any knowledgeable immigration lawyer on how to get a green card. And then you circle all the way back to, you got to get married or you're going to just suffer. Find a husband.
So she worked in a restaurant for like more than 5 years, so the company can
Obviously, you didn't hear a word I just said. If you get sponsored in a job, you will go home for 10 years. And get
I see.
whether you self-petition, the restaurant, or anybody else. I just went, you can watch the show. You can go rewind on YouTube or wherever you're watching. I just went through every possible scenario, which only left one left. Get married in a bona fide marriage. No other option. So the person can be picky on the husband for the rest of their life, or they can say, you know what, this man's a nice man, I'm going to marry him. But it has to be a bona fide marriage. All right?
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
Let's go to Philip in Riverside, California. Philip.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, so good. So my question is that.
Listen, Philip.
Yeah. So I'm waiting for like over 17 months for I-751. I was wondering, it was like how much longer do you think?
The I-751, you did it as a joint application?
Yeah.
So I-751s are taking like 3-4 years right now. Crazy time.
Oh.
But you've been waiting over a year in a joint application. So my suggestion would be file for your citizenship. You're qualified to do it. You're in a bona fide marriage live with your spouse, presumably file for your citizenship. That'll speed it up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. All right. So that's probably that's probably solved it all. Thank you.
All right. Be well. Omar in Bronx. Omar.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah, just shut the show off in the background so we can hear.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
I hear you now. What's up?
Yes. Hello. I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I filed for I-485 and I-130. My wife filed for me. Then I got a travel document. I went back and come back. Then after that, they administratively closed the I-485.
What happened with the I-45?
They sent a letter that it's administratively closed.
Okay, because are you in removal?
Yes,
deportation?
That's also, yes, I was kind of, because that is also administratively closed by the judge.
I understand that, but USCIS cannot approve an adjustment until a immigration judge terminates your deportation. Administrative closure in removal means you're still in removal. We're just not scheduling you for the next deportation hearing. So what you need to do now is make a motion back to the immigration judge and say, hey, immigration judge, I'm paraphrasing. You never say in a motion, hey, immigration judge. I'm just paraphrasing. But you say, hey, immigration judge, can we either, one, recalendar my case and I can come before you and you can adjust my status because I have this pending adjustment pending at USCIS, which they closed because of this administrative closure in the removal hearing. Or alternatively, what I really appreciate if you can do is just terminate the deportation and give me the termination order, I can go back to immigration to reopen the administratively closed adjustment at immigration and complete my case there. That's okay. Other than that, you're going to be going. I can help you.
No, the thing is, I have a I-130 pending.
The thing is, Omar, I just told you exactly what you need to do. I get it. I get it. And I just told you what to do.
Is now.
What?
No, I have the travel document, and I traveled with it while the administrative law was closed on the judge. I come back, and now
you told me
I
that.
want to travel again. Yes, I want to travel again. Can I travel without document?
I would like to eat a piece of cake right now, but I'm on a live TV show. I would like to win the Powerball, but unfortunately, I won't win the Powerball tonight because I doubt I'll win it. I want a lot of things that I can't get, and guess what? Same with you. So you need to.
No, I have a travel document already.
I wouldn't travel. You're in deportation. You got lucky. You got back in the first time. All right. So I'm going back to you, Omar. Okay. I wish I could have a lot of things too in life. You can't have everything in life. Okay. What you need to do right now is reopen your removal case and ask the judge to terminate it or adjudicate your adjustment, just like I told you 10 minutes ago. Okay. That's the thing.
Okay.
Got it? That's the thing.
Got it.
Come back to me like, well, the thing is this, the thing is you got to reopen your case and get your green card. That's the thing. Hold on. Yeah, I'd love to do a lot of things I can't do. All right. Amjad in San Antonio, Texas. Amjad.
Hi, sir. This is on behalf of... Yes, sir.
Yeah.
This is on behalf of one of my friend who has been here for 20 years, married, have 4 kids here. With a green card, went to renew the green card. She had a record. So based on that, she went into deportation and was eventually deported.
Say it again.
So can we...
Wait, I misunderstood. Start again. Start again.
A friend of mine been here 20 years with a green card, wanted to renew the green card. I cannot hear you.
I hear you. The friend of yours wanted to renew the green card, and then you told me he got deported, so I didn't understand what happened.
She had a record.
What was the record?
Felony.
For what?
She stole money at her job. She worked at Target.
How much did she steal?
Close to 10,000.
More or less. That's really important. If it was more than 10,000, she's an aggravated felon, and there's not a lot we can do. If it's less than 10,000, there's more we can do. That's a key number.
I do not know the exact amount, but I will tell you one thing, that the case was settled and she paid her money back.
Okay.
She paid the money, but the record stayed on her, the felony or what that stayed on her record.
Because you pay the money back doesn't mean you didn't commit the crime. So,
correct.
Right. So she's had a green card for 20 years. If this is her only offense ever, and the theft was under $10,000, that would be a crime involving moral turpitude, and a crime involving moral turpitude that occurs more than 5 years after obtaining green card or entry into the U.S. is not deportable on a one-time crime. My guess is, because she's being held, it was more than 10,000, because if it was less than 10,000, she's not even deportable, assuming it's her only offense. If it was more than $10,000, then my guess is that's why she's being held, because she's an aggravated felon. And now, as an aggravated felon, it's automatic deportation. And the only thing you can do is one of two things. One, apply for Convention Against Torture, meaning don't deport me because my life is in danger if I go home. I don't know where she's from. I don't know her situation.
She's already deported.
She got deported
She has
already.
already been deported.
Okay, so
She's
what
in
is your question?
Philippines.
So what is your question to me?
How can we bring her back if I can find out if it is less than 10,000.
If it was less than 10,000, I bet
With
you it was
4
more than,
kids who are US citizens who are born.
I bet you it was more than 10,000 because she wouldn't have been deported for less than 10,000. If it was more than 10,000, she's an aggravated felon. Presumably, you would be able to file for her back with a waiver, but it would be difficult if you're the spouse. It would only be through a spouse filing for her. Okay, but we would have to pull the records first and find out. But that would be the answer. Okay?
I will be in touch with your office.
Okay, fantastic. Hold on one second. Let's go to Lily in Orlando, Florida. Lily.
Yes.
Hi, Lily. How are you?
Hi. I'm good, thank you. I have a question. Quick question. I am a green card holder.
Yeah.
I'm a green card holder, and I'm applying one. I want to certify my daughter. She is 23 years old. She's a Canadian citizen, and can she come to U.S. to do adjustment studies?
No, because she's over 21, unfortunately. So when you
she
file
can't.
for her, no. When you file for her, I mean, if she's a Canadian citizen, she can come visit you. No one's going to stop her from doing that. But she wouldn't be eligible to adjust her status until her date is reached on the waiting list. And if you just recently filed for her, she's probably got 8 or 9 years of waiting, unfortunately. And the reason
God. So
is
what
because
about-
you filed for
Mhm.
her over 21. If you filed for her under 21, then we'd be having a different conversation.
So what about when the case proved? Can she come?
No, because when the case is approved, she's on a visa waiting list. If the visa waiting list, people who started for their unmarried adult children in 2015, those children are now getting a green card. And you said you just recently filed for your daughter. So she's got years and 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 years of waiting, unfortunately.
So she can't come here for the.
She cannot come and adjust. She can come and visit and leave. She can come and stay here illegally, but she can't get a green card for a long time.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Wish I could help. Okay. So that is our meat and potatoes for the day. I do have to remind everybody, if you didn't get your immigration questions asked and answered, I will be taking your social media questions in about 3 or 4 minutes from now. So please leave your questions in comments. I'll even try to go to Instagram and try to read some immigration questions off of there if I can do it quick enough. I do have to remind everybody to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Threads, all at Brad Show Live. You can also follow me on Instagram at Real Brad Bernstein. You can follow me on TikTok at Brad Bernstein Law. You can visit us on the web at www.lawsb.com. And yes, I will later in the next few minutes, actually in 1 minute and 20 seconds, be answering your questions in the comments section. So please leave your immigration questions in the comments section. Right now, I do have to remind everybody that Spar and Bernstein does provide legal assistance for personal injury claims alongside immigration cases, and it is essential to be prepared and know who to reach out to in case of an accident. So in today's video series on personal injury motor vehicle accidents, I'll outline what Spar and Bernstein attorneys can do for you in such a case. I'm also going to discuss whether it's possible to hire a motor vehicle accident attorney if you're unable to afford legal services. Let's watch. Our experienced team will be by your side during the challenging post-accident period. We will define liability, gather evidence, calculate losses, advise you on filing a claim or a lawsuit, communicate with insurance companies, draft and file insurance claims, draft and file lawsuits, secure your legal representation, defend your rights, take your case to trial if necessary, negotiate settlements. We will fight to ensure you receive the maximum compensation to improve your physical and psychological recovery. At Spar and Bernstein, we do not require an upfront payment. Once we reach a settlement or win your case, you pay only a percentage of the net compensation you receive. The fee is due only if and when we reach a successful outcome. We ensure that regardless of your financial standing, you will receive adequate legal representation. To lay the foundation of our client-attorney relationship, we offer a free initial consultation to discuss your case and provide our transparent recommendations for next steps. Contact us at Spar and Bernstein for a free consultation regarding your case. All right, and I'm back. I was sitting down. I did it just in time. All right, we're going to get into our social media check-in right now. Let's do it, Joe. All right, let's go to our first person, Lucy Aquino. Lucy says, my VAWA was applied last May 2022. I received my work permit last December 2023. How long for a green card? At least 3 years, Lucy. And the next question comes from Malachi. Hello, Brad. My I-45 and I-130 says actively being reviewed. After we submitted RFE, please, how long will it take? I think Malachi called on the phone, if it's the same person. Once you respond to the RFE, figure at least a year. Leisha, advanced parole document. How after approval does it take for you to get it? Probably 2 or 3 weeks in the mail. Dolly Baby, can I get food stamps for my kids if they undocumented without a problem when I'm going to file my paperwork in Chicago? If your kids are undocumented, they're not going to get food stamps. If your kids are U.S. citizens, then yes, they can get food stamps, regardless of whether you're documented or not. Katie says, hi, Brad. If you receive a green card via VAWA, when you file citizenship, 2 years, 9 months, or 5 years? 2 years, 9 months, and 3 days to be exact. And Elizabeth Kenjana, is CBP1 still in use? CBP1, I guess you're talking about the app to try to get an appointment at the border. Yes, it is. Naveed, can you help me with student visa for nephews who are 16 years old from Pakistan? Yes, I guess presumably if they're ready to go to university or maybe a boarding school, also would take children who are not yet ready for a university. Alicia White, can I also file for my son who's 15 that overstayed his visa? Can he get in school here in New York? What was the question before, Alicia? I don't remember what her question was before that. I assume, Alicia, you can file for your son, but I don't know your situation, so I would need to know a lot more. Lexi Apple, hello, Brad. How are you? I filed for my son in December 21, but the visa bulletin is saying that they're at June 2020 as F2A. Does that sound right with the time frame? I would have to look at what the visa bulletin says, Lexi. If you want me to look at the visa bulletin, I can right now. Let me Google that visa bulletin. And the visa bulletin for F2A for April 2024 is September 8th, 2020, Lexi. I don't know where you got December 2021 from. They're up to, but for dates for filing family-sponsored visa applications are September 1st, 2023. That means you can file an adjustment up to 2023. They're processing cases up to 2023, but no green card is going to be issued unless his priority date is prior to September 8th, 2020. Adeon Lindo says, hi, Brad. You only see my eyes with these big questions. It's funny. Hi, Brad. I'm in the military and recently received my citizenship. Congratulations, and thank you for your service. I got married in January to my now wife, who is Jamaican. She returned to Jamaica. Can I file for an I-130? Absolutely. Why not? File for the I-130 immediately. Aristemo, I'm in New York City. Does 16010 attempt of robbery crime qualify for U visa? District attorney denied the certification for not finding a file under my name. I have a police report. Well, maybe the district attorney never prosecuted the crime, but there is a police report. You have to show that two things to get a U visa. One, that you were injured. Two, that you cooperated. Maybe the district attorney never had any record of your cooperation. Maybe they never They never arrested anybody, but maybe you cooperated with the police. So go to the police, ask them. Nisa Hewitt, USCIS received my medical. They requested to process the 485 in September 2023, and the status of the case is still saying actively reviewing cases. Is there anything that can be done on my end or just wait? At the moment, just wait. If a year goes by and you haven't heard anything, then call me and we'll do a threat of a mandamus. Chartone Brown. Hi, Brad. Question. I got my visa last year. I traveled a few days. I applied for my children's visa, even though one is 18 years old, but he's a student and he's still cared for by his parents. That's a statement. I guess you're asking, will they get a visa? I have no idea. Island Drone Adventures. Hi, Brad. My mom recently applied for N400, which is your citizenship or her citizenship. She worked only 1 year during the last 5 years and only made $4,200, of which $120 was withheld. She didn't file a tax return for this. Will it be a problem? She should go and speak to, I'm not a tax expert on that, but she should speak to a tax attorney, a tax representative, and say, do you need to file a tax return on this income? If so, she should do it. Just, do the right thing. Island Drone, she only worked in 2021. Then she should have a tax return for 2021. She may not owe taxes. That's certain. You only owe taxes if you earned more than $10,000 in any given year, but probably should file a tax return. Trevian Clark, how long does USCIS take to process I-824 after submitting? At least 8 or 9 months. Hawkeye, can I transit through the U.S. from Canada on a B1, then decided to overstay? Do I qualify to adjust if I married a U.S. citizen? Then if I use my C1, D1, what do you think, sir? If you come to the United States and enter the U.S. on a B1, B2 visa, and then you overstay, you will be eligible to adjust. If you enter the United States on a C1, D1 visa, which is a crewman to basically transit through, then you would not be eligible to adjust. So it depends not what visas you have in your passport. It depends on how you entered the U.S. Sonia, am I entitled to any health benefits as a green card holder? I've never worked in this country. Yes, you're entitled to anything any green card holder would be eligible for. Go get it. Lillian, hi, Brad Squad. How long does it take for processing of a green card from the Nebraska office? I have no idea who's sponsoring you for your green card. King TV, hey, Brad, what's a derivative citizen? How do I know if I qualify? A derivative citizen is somebody who derives their citizenship automatically through their parents because their parents were a U.S. citizen. You generally either qualify because you had a green card and your parents were citizens before 18, and it's on a case-by-case basis, or your parent was a citizen when you were born and lived in the United States for a period of time prior to your birth. J Love, hello, Brad. I got married last month. I am out of status, but I'm waiting for my adjustment of status to be approved. Can I travel domestic with my valid passport? Yes, you can. Michelle Taylor, hey, Brad. If a person got married to a U.S. citizen, how long can that person put in the paperwork? Put in immediately. Why not? And it'll take about a year. Carolyn, hi, my husband and I had the visa interview at the embassy and was refused. Nothing is checked to know why, so we do not know what to do. Can you help? Yes, we would have to call the embassy and find out what's going on. Najuma, I got married because before my citizenship, and on my N400, I didn't change my status to married and later filed for my spouse, but I was wondering, would USCIS ever notice or call our marriage a fraud? I got married before my, probably not call you a fraud, but they may say you lied on your citizenship application. So you probably should get a lawyer involved in this. Dinesh, I sent my VAWA I-45 medical RFE to Long Island field office in November. No updates since then. Hopefully you'll get it soon. I don't have an answer. A lot of times people are like, why? And I go, I don't know. I didn't handle your case, but it should be soon, presumably. Hi, Brad. Now you only see a bald head. That's so funny. Hi, Brad. If someone has asylum pending, can he or she travel within the United States? The answer is yes. Recently, I heard from a lawyer advising asylum applicants not traveling to certain states. One of them was Arizona. And she actually mentioned that one of the applicants got arrested at one of the airports in Arizona, even though the applicant was in pending asylum and was here legally and had a work permit. Can you advise? I never heard that. So that's news to me. Violet, can a daughter that a U.S. citizen file for a parent while he or she is working on the H-2B program? Yes, if they're here in the U.S. on an H-2B and the daughter is a citizen, yeah, file the not only file the I-130, but file the adjustment too. CE user, Brad, can a U.S. citizen father who has never lived in the U.S. and is living abroad apply for an N-600 through the grandfather who has 5 years of U.S. residence as a citizen? If not, can he be petitioned by a dad? The U.S. citizen, in certain circumstances, can, I assume it's the grandchild of the grandparent who lived in the United States. Under certain circumstances, what the law says for derivative citizenship, you need 5 years of residence prior to the child's birth. But in certain circumstances, you can use the residence of the grandparent to substitute for the residence of the parent to derive U.S. citizenship. So yes, possibly. Tanish, Brad, how long after the judge approved your I-45 do you receive your green card? Oh, it takes a while, unfortunately, because they got to transfer the file to USCIS to process, and sometimes it takes well over a year, sometimes 2 years. Crazy. Because judges are lazy and don't do it that fast. Fitzroy, if you're doing a VAWA and you don't have a social security number or birth certificate, how that works is file your VAWA, file an adjustment, then you'll get your work permit and your social security number. But you're asking you don't have the social security number or birth certificate for your spouse? I guess that's the question. USCIS will look it up, so don't worry. Nia Kamoy, I filed for my adult son in 2020. When will he get the approval letter? I have no idea, Kamia. Could be a while. Dave D, I'm a U.S. citizen. I married. My wife lives in Jamaica. How long does it take for the I-130 application to be approved? Usually about a year. Chelsea, my son is in the Army. How long can he take to file for me? As long as any other U.S. citizen. If you're in the country, about a year. To adjust outside of the country, about 2 years. Mohammed, can I apply visa? They removed me in 2019 on 27 years. I'm permanent resident, moral turpitude, 3 years probation. I would have to review your records, but if you only have crimes of moral turpitude and you have a spouse who can file for you, then the answer is most likely you'll be able to return. Mohammed, also another Mohammed. I married a U.S. citizen in 2009. I have the I-130, but I moved to Canada in 2017. I have 3 kids in Maryland. They are U.S. citizens. So what is your question? I have I-130. I moved to Canada. I have 3 kids in Maryland. They're U.S. citizens. What is the question there, Mohammed? I don't know the question. RFE for medical I-45 is a good sign for I-140 EB1 already approved. It doesn't mean it's already approved, but it's a good sign that they wouldn't ask for the medical if they were not inclined to approve it. So thumbs up there. Soccer lovers. Hi, Brad. I had a J1 visa when I entered the country. Now I am in removal proceedings. I want to apply for VAWA as I married a U.S. citizen. What are the correct steps I have to take to adjust my status? File the VAWA case. You may need a waiver for the 2-year home residence requirement. Prove the abuse. Show the judge that you have a VAWA case filed, and they should either administratively close or terminate your removal. Christina Scarlett, good evening, Brad. I'm currently living in Jamaica, and I got married in May of 2023 to a U.S. citizen. He filed the paperwork for an I-130 in July 2023. What's the duration? Sometime over the summer 2024, it should be approved. Rebecca London. Hi, Brad. I'm a UK citizen with advanced degrees in social work therapy, looking to move to the USA with my family of 5 to be closer to my in-laws and sister. What is the fastest route you would recommend? Also, there are websites. Do you recommend to look for visa sponsorship jobs? Yeah, look for visa sponsorship jobs. An H-1B visa probably would be the way to go. John, when someone travels to a home country after asylum and applied for the N-400, will they be denied? Possibly. They could be denied because you went to a country you claimed asylum from, got your green card because of it, said you were terrified to go, and then as soon as you got your green card, you traveled. So there are lots of questions for sure. Ombis, can someone get a VAWA after they have a marriage fraud case and on deportation? No, you would have to overcome that marriage fraud and prove that marriage fraud did not happen. Jacola, hey, Brad. Good night. If I seek asylum and I got married to a U.S. citizen, can I get green card and go back to my country and come back? No, we just answered that. Not a good idea. Just because now you're married to a U.S. citizen means everything you said in your asylum was BS and it doesn't matter. It matters. You said you were terrified to go home. You filed for asylum, and now you're home. What do you think? Hopefully, parents are I-130 out of country in El Salvador. How long? Submitted in December 22, reviewed since January. I don't know, but it's way past approval, hopefully. So I think maybe you should have a consultation with me. It should have been approved already. Damian Christie, how long after you send in the medical to immigration they take to approve your adjustment? It's supposed to be 4 months, but if you base it on the comments here in our comment section, it's taking a lot longer. All right, so I'm going to start on Real Brad Bernstein. Let me see if there's any immigration questions on Real Brad Bernstein. Kerry Scarlett has a question on Real Brad Bernstein. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, how long after entering the U.S. can you file for adjustment status? Kerry, you got to wait 90 days or it's going to be a misrepresentation. Stula Pure Fire on Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram asks, hi, Brad, good evening. I'm a U.S. citizen. My wife's 2-year green card, but she wants to file for her citizenship in June, but she didn't pay any taxes with me. Can she still file for citizenship? If she's not paying taxes with you, the government's going to say, or going to question whether it's a bona fide marriage. I would fix the taxes, amend the taxes, make sure your taxes are joint. Melted Wigs, 954 on Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram asks, would I need to apply for a new work permit if I applied for VAWA? I have one now through the I-130 for my husband, but he's abusive. You don't need to file for a new work permit because I assume your pending adjustment is in administratively processing still, even though the I-130 is no longer being processed because you're filing a VAWA. And that work permit you got is through the I-45. When that work permit expires, you'll need to file a new one, but you don't need to do one right now. Han Getty, can I be the only joint sponsor for my friend and his 2 children? He's married to an American. He has 2 children, 16 and 17, and my income is above poverty. Yes, the spouse needs to be a sponsor, and you can be the joint sponsor for everybody. And Luscious Jelly Bean, just with a nice comment saying, hi, Brad, thanks for your service to the community. Thank you, Luscious. Niak Essor on Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram asks, good night. My dad was filed for by his sister the year 1998. When the paperwork came through, I was aged off. Is there anything can be done with the Child Protection Act? I'm now 38. Unfortunately, no. But you are 245I eligible if you're in the United States of America. You may be able to adjust through other ways because you're 245I. Sachs, hello, Brad. Can you help me with filing an affidavit support? Yeah, why not? All right, we're going to do 2 more from Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram. My friend has 5-year travel permit and went to Mexico, and on her way back in the U.S., an immigration officer told her that she should only use her parole card to only her home country for emergency. It depends on what status she was in the United States to begin with. I don't necessarily agree with that. Elisa Loom, hey, Brad, I've been waiting for my asylum interview since 2021. I filed for asylum 9 months in the country. Is there a way to adjust my status through employment, green card inside the States? Maybe. We can talk about it. We can certainly talk about it. And let's go to Instagram on Brad Show Live and see what questions we have on Instagram at Brad Show Live. And Mariciad CB asks, hi, Brad, how are you? I'm watching your live stream. Thank you very much. Question, I am a U.S. citizen and just filed an I-130 for my unmarried son over 21. How long could it take for him to get his green card? If you just did it, unfortunately, 7, 8, 9 years. N4VZ asks, hey, Brad, if you're selected for DV visa, do we need to provide some university degree equivalents to U.S. education system? If so, is there any specific form? You need to show you have a 2-year skill, work, job experience in the 2-year skilled position, or you graduated the equivalent of high school in America, not university. But if you're already in university, presumably university would only allow you into a university if you have the equivalent of a U.S. high school diploma, I would presume. And Steffi Baby asks a question on Brad Show Live Instagram account. I'm about to marry an American citizen next month. How long does it take to get a work permit and social security number? Congratulations. Should take less than 6 months for the work permit and social security number. Right now, coming in about 4 months. British 123 on Bradshaw Live on Instagram asks, I haven't filed for a green card after 2 years of marriage. Will the new rules affect my parole? What new rules are we talking about? I'm not sure. Quadjokes, I guess KWAJOKESE. Can I travel from Texas to New Jersey with a valid passport? Yes. I am loved. 75 asks, I'm a guardian for a child in Cameroon. How do I go about having him live with me here? I'm a citizen. You can't file for a child that you're the guardian of, and I am not 100% certain from Cameroon they allow adoptions or orphan petitions. Maybe there's an adoption, but then you would have to live with that child for 2 years. I'm not sure they allow orphan petitions from Cameroon. All right, and we're going to answer 2 more questions on Bradshaw Live on Instagram. Temi Doken asks, how long will it avowal approval take? It's been 3 years, and I have 5-year EAD. It takes about 3 years. And Bismarck I-22 asks, if one is inadmissible due to a fraudulent document, if one refiles and applies for parole, would it be safe to travel? No, because if you're inadmissible, you're inadmissible. So I would not travel when you have those issues. Oh, there's a whole bunch more on Bradshaw Live on Instagram. I can't answer every last question in the world. I'll answer one more on Bradshaw Live on Instagram. For Mercy, Alexis asks, hello, Brad. We just got our approval for the K-1 visa. We're waiting for an interview date. How long does it take? Been waiting 2 months. I don't know where you are, but depending on the embassies, it could be anywhere from 2 to 6 months. And finally, it's not finally because there's a million questions on Bradshaw Live Instagram, but this will be the last one for the show. TBK, hair and accessories. How long after you get your work permit do you get your green card? I can't be the last one because I don't know how you got your work permit. All right, last one. Level up with CBD. It's a way to go for the last one, leveling up with CBD. Can you apply for anything if it was abused by a U.S. citizen boyfriend? There's no VAWA case for abuse for a U.S. citizen boyfriend, but if that boyfriend was arrested for physical abuse, then you can file for a U visa. All right, let's go back to our Facebook and YouTube comments. We'll do a few more. Jalissa H. High Five says, T status can go back home for approval, or I have to wait until the green card. You can go home, but you're just going to wait a lot longer, Jalissa. Prince Mali, can you help my brother with his case? Sure. Romeo, my mom is a green card holder. I've been DQ'd from December 2022. My priority date is October 4th, 2016. How much longer for the interview? They're right now up to November 22nd, 2015. At least a year, maybe 2 years. All right, we're going to do 2 more here, and then we're going to move on. I want a petition for my spouse while he's in his home country. Once I submit his I-130, will he be able to travel and visit me on his visitor's visa, which is valid for 10 years? Yeah, he should be able to. You know, hopefully he won't have a problem at the airport. I doubt it. There's always a possibility he could have a problem at the airport, but it's highly unlikely. And the last question for social media check-in. I'm an unmarried adult, presently on a visitor's visa and still in status. Can my mother, who is a green card holder, file and adjust my status while I'm here? No, because there is a priority date that you need to reach first, and that priority date will be a long time from the time that you originally file. And by the way, we did not do the VIP Brad Scott questions. My apologies. Totally went right over my head. Let's do them quickly right now before we move on. What we normally do is we say, join our Brad Squad on Facebook, and being a member of our Brad Squad group, you get your VIP questions asked first. In this particular case, I screwed the VIPs and we're answering them last, but it wasn't on purpose. It just went right over my head. So, but I'm going to make sure I answer their questions. As if Khan asks a question, why is the humanitarian reinstatement approval taking so long? We requested in January 22, still no answer. Ask Mayorkas, the head of Department of Homeland Security. Immigration is taking like 2-3 years to do that right now, unfortunately. Anonymous asks a question. I have a concern. I've been married to a U.S. citizen for 8 years, but I don't have a green card yet. My husband hasn't filed for it yet. My reason is his taxes. He didn't file for them for many years. When I came here, he had a small business, but during COVID, our business was closed. Am I considered here illegal? I really want to visit my family back home. 2 of my siblings have passed away. Blah, blah, blah. Can I file it myself? My husband really won't file for me. My situation bothers me a lot. I assume you're here undocumented. If your husband's business closed down and he can't afford to pay his taxes, he should go to a tax debt relief attorney. That's what I would recommend. And many tax debt relief attorneys can file your back taxes and then have the taxes wiped away. That's what I would handle. That's how I would handle it. Anonymous asks another question. Can I get a work permit even if I'm out of status? I overstayed on a J1 visa subject to 212E for almost 6 years. You got to get a waiver first before you do anything. And then we can talk about how to get a work permit. Another anonymous asks, locked up and filed an N600, got a biometric date that has passed and I could not make the appointment. Now I was told I have a final order. What could I do? I would make a motion back to the immigration judge to have you released because you're a U.S. citizen. Just because you don't have the N600 doesn't mean you're not a citizen. N600 is for a certificate of citizenship. Citizenship is automatic. So if you qualify for citizenship, you're a citizen no matter what. And the U.S. government should not be deporting citizens. So I would make a motion to the judge and say, hey, wait a second, I'm a U.S. citizen because of XYZ, and show your documents why. And Dill testimony. And then if you are, they're going to release you. You won't be locked up anymore. And Dill, assuming you're locked up by immigration and ICE. And Dill testimony, the final VIP Brad Squad question of the day. I won my affirmative asylum interview last month, but my spouse has a pending asylum application. Does she have to withdraw her pending application before I can submit a Form I-730 for her to get derivative asylum? No, you can file for both. She can have both going at the same time. Why not? All right. So that is our Brad Show social media check-in and VIP Brad Squad questions. Now it's time for part 2 of our squad versus crew game from last week, and the stakes are even higher than before. Not only is the entire game series score deadlocked at 11-11, but when we left off, our 2 formidable contenders, our loyal Brad squatter Tamika Hewitt, a.k.a. Stargirl Mika, and show editor Lee Manor were tied 2-2. Now they're facing off for the final part of the immigration stats, facts, and figures challenge. It's anybody's game. Feel free to play along in the comments. Let's watch.
Hey squad, Vanessa Contreras here, and we are back with another round of squad versus crew. And today we've got a rematch between our show fan, Star Girl Mika, and our show super editor, Lee Manor. I hope you guys brought your thinking caps today because I am going to be asking you all about immigration stats, facts, and figures. So do you guys have your paper and pens ready to go? Okay, so let's play squad versus crew.
Versus.
How many H-1B visas are issued each year? Is it A, 20,000, B, 65,000, C, 85,000, or D, 100,000? H-1B visa. We hear about this visa all the time on Brad Show Live. Let's see it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, this one's gonna go to the crew. The correct answer is C, 85,000. The H-1B program, which brings in skilled foreign workers for specialty jobs, is capped at 65,000 visas annually, with 20,000 additional visas for foreign professionals who obtain a graduate degree at an American university. At the height of the program, from 2001 to 2003, the cap was raised to 195,000 visas per year. That's a lot of visas.
Yeah, a lot.
Next question. In what year was a literacy requirement first established for immigrants entering the U.S.? Is it A, 1860, B, 1917, C, 1924, or 1965? Let's see your answers in 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Wow, look at you guys. Look at you guys. Close, but no. The correct answer is B, 1917. As the U.S. fought in World War I, anti-foreign sentiments were on the rise. The Immigration Act of 1917 established a literacy requirement for immigrants entering the U.S. and halted immigration for most Asian countries. It was followed by the Immigration Act of 1924, which established the first nationality quotas. You guys had said C, 1924, but there were other Immigration Acts of 1917, and then there's the Immigration Act of 1924. So you guys were close. Next question. Which industry has the highest percentage of foreign-born workers? Is it A, agriculture, B, construction, C, private household employment, or D, healthcare? Okay, let's see your answers in 3, 2, 1. The correct answer is actually C. I would have thought so too, honestly, but the correct answer is C, private household employment. Although immigrants make up about 17% of the U.S. workforce, they hold 45% of private household jobs, such as maids, gardeners, and nannies, according to the Pew Research Center. Construction and agriculture jobs are also among the most common careers for immigrants. Okay, so we are approaching our final question, which will be a double or nothing question. We have our squad, Stargirl Mika, with 2 points, and our crew, Lee, with 3 points. Okay? We are going to double or nothing this final question. As of 2019, how much spending power do U.S. immigrants have? So how much money after taxes do immigrants have to spend and invest back in the economy? Is it A, 50 billion, B, 260 billion, C, 745 billion, or D, 1.3 trillion? Let's see your answers in 3, 2, 1. We'll surprise ourselves, friends. We will surprise ourselves. The correct answer is actually D, 1.3. I am shooketh by this one. 1.3 trillion. So, New American Economy found that in 2019, immigrants made 1.7 trillion in household income. They paid $492.4 billion in federal income, state, and local taxes, leaving them with $1.3 trillion to funnel back into the American economy. This is one of the reasons many economists have proposed increasing annual immigration numbers to boost the U.S. economy. Can you guys believe that?
And one of the reasons they need to give us those work permits.
You said it. You said it. Okay, it seems like we had a comeback.
Wow.
And the crew wins this one.
I don't feel bad.
Hey, this was not an easy one, okay? There was no monkey business this time around. We were talking stats, facts, and figures on this edition of Squad vs. Crew. If you want to join us for any Squad vs. Crew games, just make sure that you get in touch with our crew and we'll invite you in, and make sure that you are ready with your immigration knowledge, because this is a game, but we did not come to play. So I'll see you guys next time.
All right. Congratulations, Lee and crew. The crew is ahead now by 1 squad. Who's going to volunteer the next Squad versus Crew showdown? Who's going to volunteer? Reach out to us on our social media pages if you want to participate in Brad Show Live. All right. Now, I have a game of my own challenge as we go to social media speed round. as I was saying, I have 10 questions I got to answer in 50 seconds, or Joe blows me up. If I'm able to get the 10 immigration questions answered in 50 seconds, I get a balloon. It seems like the gift is like this tiny little thing, and like if I lose, I basically get killed. Doesn't seem fair, but that's how it was set up. All right, you ready to do it, Jill? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Can you still work if your green card expired? Yes, you're still a resident. How long can a green card holder stay out of the U.S.? No more than 6 months. Can I marry my sponsor? Yeah, why not? As long as you're in love. Can you renew a tourist visa before it expires? 6 months before. Can someone with a C1D change status to a student? No, you can't. Can a child be adopted at 18 and get a green card? No, it has to be under 16. How can I get an ITIN number? File a 1040 tax return. Can I fly back to my home country with an expired passport? You won't get on the plane. If you overstayed, can a sibling sponsor you? Yes, but who knows if you'll ever get a green card. How long until I get my marriage-based green card after the interview? I don't know. If all goes well, 2-3 months. If not, years. I'm done. I get a balloon! Woohoo! A balloon! A balloon! A balloon! Last week I didn't do it, so I'm very happy. Thank God. I didn't want to get blown up 2 days in a row or 2 shows in a row. Hurts my feelings. All right, we're ready for comments of the day. Let's do it. All right, our first comment comes from Violet Blackwood. I am early today to catch up with all that great information Uncle Brad has to give. Best immigration lawyer ever. Never gets better than this. Thank you very much, Violet. It's really nice. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, second comment today comes from Elizabeth Karanja. Brad is the real deal. I am, Elizabeth. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Third comment today comes from Mamadou Badley. Brad is smart, intelligent, best immigration lawyer. Well done. Thank you very much, Mamadou. This should be Let's Stroke Brad's Ego part of the show, but we call it comments of the day. And our last comment of the day comes from Stargirl Mika. Please don't call the show and act like you know more than Brad. Brad can finish your question as soon as you start asking it. That is very true, Stargirl Mika. Thank you very much. The great comments of the day, everybody. And unfortunately, after a little over 2 hours and 10 minutes, we are coming to the end of our show, but we will be back for updates when we will be live again. Like and subscribe to Brad Show Live on Facebook. Like and subscribe to Brad Show Live on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, and you can find me at Brad Bernstein on Facebook, on Real Brad Bernstein on Instagram, and Brad Bernstein Law on TikTok. Have a great evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining. It was a lot of fun for me. Hopefully it was educational for you and fun for you as well. And we'll see you next time around. Thanks for watching. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein Law Firm, located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800 800-529-5465. And visit us now at our Connecticut office, 221 Main Street, Suite 501, Hartford, Connecticut. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465.